Assalamualaikum. This is Nurjahan Begum, lecturer in English, য়ণগঞ Government Mahila College. Dear students, we all know that this is a pandemic period. Your classes are closed for a very long time. For this reason, according to the order of our Honorable Principal Sir, we the teachers have arranged online classes for you. Today, I want to discuss about Ulysses, an important Victorian poem written by a very famous and fabulous Victorian poet, Lord Alfred Tennyson. Before going through this poem, you all have to know about two things. Number one, the Victorian period. You all have to know about Victorian period. And number two, about Lord Alfred Tennyson. So at first, we are discussing about the Victorian age. It is one of the most important periods of English literature. It was from 1832 to 1901. Actually, in the history of United Kingdom, this period was the reign of Queen Victoria. You all know about Queen Victoria, I think so. This age forms a transition from the writers of the Romantic period. Again, you all know about the Romantic period, the writers of the Romantic period. And they started a very different literature in this period. In this age, there remained flourishment of poetry, novel, children's literature, drama, and so on. To know about Victorian age, we have to know about the characteristics of Victorian literature. Here are some characteristics of Victorian literature. At first, we see that one of the characteristics of Victorian literature is industrialization. At that time, industrialization flourished in England very much, and this industrialization influenced English literature also. Number two, you can see that it is class consciousness. At that time, because of industrialization and because of many changes in the society, there was a very class consciousness among people. Number three, we can see that at that time in Victorian period, there was a clash between science and religion. The new inventions of science and the conventional rules of religions are contradictory at the time, and it was a clash, and it also influenced the literature of that time. Then we can see that another characteristic of Victorian literature is huge progress. Because of industrialization, there was huge progress in the lifestyle of people of the time, and obviously it influences the literature of that time, especially in the literature of English. Then it is nostalgia. The literature of Victorian period, we can see that there influences nostalgia very much. There were another characteristics such as the women question, the role of women in the society. It became a very important question at the time. There were another characteristics of Victorian literature. Those are utilitarian, sterilization, etc. There are actually many other characteristics of Victorian literature. So many other characteristics of Victorian literature. Then we can see here that here are some name of writers. Actually, these are the major writers of Victorian age. Actually, Victorian age is very important in English literature. In this age, there are born many important writers. Some of them are Alfred Tennyson, Robert Browning, Matthew Arnold, Rossetti, Thackeray, Charles Dickens, Thomas Hardy, Charlotte Bronte, Emily Bronte, George Eliot, and so many writers. This is a very short description of Victorian age. Now you have a task, because I can't write here all the things. So you have a task. You all have to make an essay on Victorian period of your own, taking the help of internet, taking the help of other books, etc. Now I want to tell you something about Lord Alfred Tennyson, because before starting the poem, we have to know about a poet, that is Lord Alfred Tennyson. Tennyson was actually born on 6 August 1809 in England. You know that very much of our poets are from England and America, and Tennyson is also from England. He was born in a middle-class family. Tennyson was a man of superior abilities. He tried his hands in many sectors, such as architecture, painting, music, and poetry. When he was in Cambridge, he won the Chancellor's Court Medal for the poem Timbuktu. Then he published several books throughout his life. He was selected the Poet Laureate. You know, the Poet Laureate is the greatest honor of England in the sector of poetry. So he was selected the Poet Laureate after the death of William Wordsworth. At last he died in 1892. Actually, I have many things to say about Lord Alfred Tennyson, but I can't. So you all have to work. You can take the help of internet. You can take the help of many books for collecting information about Alfred Tennyson. There are huge information about Alfred Tennyson because he is actually the greatest poet of Victorian period, because we know that he is the representative poet of Victorian age. Then we can see that here are some characteristics of Tennyson's poetry. As we will read about Tennyson's poetry, so we have to know the characteristics of Tennyson's poetry. Some of the characters of Tennyson's poetry are given below. They are: at first we see that his poetry reflects the various important tendencies of his time. Actually, Tennyson is the representative poet of Victorian age because in his poetry he reflects various aspects of the society of his time, various topics, various subjects of his time, various events of his time. For this reason, we can say that his poetry reflects the various important tendencies of his time. Then we can see that his poetry has greater universality in themes. In his poetry, we can see that his poetry are not of a single theme. There are many themes in his poetry. He wrote his poems on various themes, various subjects, various topics, various subjects around the society. For this reason, we can say that his poetry has greater universality. Then we see that he has power of word painting of the external beauties of nature. Actually, he could examine the nature. He could examine the nature very vividly, and by the power of his word painting, he expresses his thought of beauties of nature. Then we see that he was a great poet artist. Actually, he has a very good comment over artistic language. For this reason, in his poems, we can find a great artistic quality. At last, we see that he has purity and loftiness in his writing. It is sure that in his poetry we can find purity and loftiness. His writing is unique from others. Again, you can see the name of the major poems of Tennyson. Here, some names of poems of Tennyson are given. They are Ulysses, In Memoriam, Morte Arthur, Wynon, Tithonus, The Lady of Shalott, Locksley Hall, The Princess, The Idylls of King, etc. And so many actually. There are so many poems. Then we will try to go through the poem Ulysses. Ulysses. The name of the poem. Here is a history. Ulysses. Ulysses is the name of a great Greek warrior who fought greatly and successfully in the War of Troy. You all have know about little or more about War of Troy. Ulysses was a great warrior there. They fought through the battle and won the battle and destroyed the city of Troy and returned to their country, Greece. And here is the poem. But before starting the poem, we have to know, obviously we have to know about the War of Troy. How the War of Troy has started. Here is a story according to the Greek mythology. Here is a story according to Greek mythology. Ares, the king of discord. Discord means war, clash, conflict. She became furious at a time because the Jews in the wedding reception of Thetis and Peleus didn't invite her. For this reason, Ares became very angry, and for creating discord in the wedding party, he threw an apple among the guests. The apple was inscribed with the words, "To the fairest." There became a clash, obviously. 3 ladies claimed to the apple. They are Aphrodite. Who is Aphrodite? Aphrodite was the goddess of beauty. Then Hera. Who is Hera? Hera was the wife of Zeus, and she is the goddess of women and marriage. And the third one is Athena. Athena was the goddess of wisdom. They 3 laid claim to the apple. Then they went to Zeus for solution, that who is the fairest, Aphrodite, Hera or Athena? Zeus proclaimed that Paris of Troy, Paris, who is the prince of Troy, will select the fairest, will say that who is the fairest. When they came to Paris, they tried to bribe him. They 3 tried to bribe Paris for her own. Hera said that she would make him the most powerful man on earth. Athena said that she would give him wisdom. And Aphrodite said that she would give love of Helen, who is the most beautiful mortal woman in the world. See here. Hera said that she would give him the most powerful man on earth. Athena said that she would give him wisdom, and Aphrodite said that she would give him the love of Helen, to whom Paris. And Helen was the most beautiful mortal woman in the world. Helen was actually the wife of Menelaus of Sparta. Helen actually was a married woman, and his husband was Menelaus of Sparta. At last, Paris, the prince of Troy, finally favored Aphrodite, the goddess of beauty, who wanted to give him the love of Helen. The story is not completed here, but today is no more. So we will discuss about the story and the poem on the next class with you. Till then, be safe, be healthy. Thank you.